Let's get this going. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Conversations with Rob. Please like and subscribe our podcast, and thank you for listening to us on the radio. I have a special guest who we've been trying to get a hold of for a while, and me and him have had trouble with internet issues, but we're back in business here, thankfully. Sankarshan, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, and we're going to talk a lot about what he's going through rather in his life, and also a lot of what's going on in your life. We see a lot of craziness going on in the world with the presidential election, anxiety from people working. So we're going to try to pump that negative energy down and try to get some better energy here through our conversation. So Sankarshan, thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate your time.
Well, I'm delighted to be here.
All right, so first of all, tell the viewers a little bit about you.
Well, I got a long story. I mean, it's let's see if I can put it in a capsule. Yeah, I was a depressed college youth who was looking for the meaning of life, and my professors didn't tell me, so I ended up getting into what's called self-realization. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, it was like that was the 60s. The cool thing in those days was tune in, turn on, and drop out. So I decided to drop out and go to India and just be a holy man in India and try to find the meaning that way. But I realized, wait a minute, if you're gonna renounce everything, you have to renounce renunciation also. So I decided to stick around in America. I took my guitar and hitchhiked to San Francisco to Haight-Ashbury on a mission to save the world with my guitar. That was my thing. But then I found that, but in my search for the message that would actually bring perfect happiness to everybody on this planet, I ended up finding a very powerful spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, the same who inspired George Harrison to write My Sweet Lord. So I became his disciple, and now I'm a spiritual master. I have disciples all over the world. I travel regularly and teaching people the science of how to become completely free from all anxieties. That's a little nutshell.
Sorry to interrupt you. So, son, how did he impact your life? I know you said you went to India. Is that where you kind of found him?
Well, no, actually, I didn't go to India. I decided instead of going to India, I decided to go to San Francisco instead. Instead of leaving the world, I wanted to stay in the world and save it with my guitar. That was the idea. So, of course, later on, I did go to India, but I met that guru. I was in Austin, Texas, and one of his disciples came there. And turned me on to his guru, and that's how I become a disciple of that guru. Vishnu, a great preacher named Vishnu Jana Swami, showed up in Austin back in 1970, 50 years. That's in 71, and turned me on to this amazing process of how to become free of all anxieties.
Yeah. So I definitely want to break into the anxiety, but I'm interested about this too. A lot of people in this country are brought up with either Christian faith, Islam, Buddhist, Hindu, all that stuff. What is the difference you feel like of what you believe toward what these other people all over the country?
You have to go to the essence of it. Okay. If you get caught up if you go to the pure essence of any religious system, you'll find that actually religion is one.
Right.
Because there's only one person, there's only one supreme being who's the source of all existence. Whether you approach him for this angle or that angle, is actually the same person. So these different paths or different angles, you may climb Mount Everest going on the western slope or the eastern slope or the northern slope, but when you get to the top, it's all the same. You see what I'm saying?
No,
so someone becomes perfect in Christianity, perfect in Islam, perfect in Buddhism. When you get to the perfectional stage, it's all the same. There's no difference. It's all the same. You get to the top of the mountain, no matter which slope you came up, it's all the same. So I was trained how to go to the top of the mountain.
Right. So how do you feel like that? Like you said, you grew up in the 60s. There was Martin Luther King got assassinated. JFK got assassinated. RFK, Robert Kennedy, got assassinated. There was a lot of turmoil in this country with the civil rights movement, too. How did you break through all that and you seem like you're a really relaxed guy. I mean, now we're not in the 60s and the 70s now, but how did you break through that in that kind of turmoil time period?
Well, basically, the whole hippie movement, the whole countercultural revolution
Right.
was saying this whole world is screwed up, you see. It's based on greed, it's based on power politics. We have to have a whole new world based on higher principles like love and spirituality. That was really the inner drive of the hippie movement. We need, we need to have love should be the basis. Spirituality should be the basis, not power and greed. So that the whole countercultural revolution, to me, was really offering what we saw the counterculture. You see, we were offering another vision of reality. So my perfection of counterculture was actually to find the spiritual path that I found.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of the people, this will go into a little bit of politics, but as a person that's into politics, we hear a lot of this from the Bernie Sanders movement, with people saying against the wars, we need more love. But that's just the input of what I feel like kind of what you're saying is what I'm hearing from a lot of Bernie Sanders people. But anyway, we'll move into, you talked a lot, you've traveled all over the world now. What have you seen when you've traveled all over the world? We hear a lot about the doomsday clock is kind of ticking almost toward 12 right now. The world's probably as worse as it's been in quite a long time. Nuclear warheads all over the world. We just saw what happened in Iran with President Trump shot that guy. So how do you get your message across? Or do you feel like this is the right message at the right time to get across with all this craziness and psychoticness going around in the world?
But the thing is, instead of being God-centered, we're all self-centered. That's the problem.
Agreed.
Everybody, everyone thinks I'm the best, my country's the best, and we don't realize there's a supreme person out there who's the source of everything. We have to learn how to harmonize with that supreme person, whether you call him Allah, or Krishna, or Jehovah, or whatever. There's a supreme person who's the source of all existence, and when you learn how to harmonize with that supreme person, and resonate with him in every minute and all your 24 hours, then you live in a state of perfect bliss. So throughout the world, we see the same disease of egotism and selfishness that's going throughout the whole world. But this is the cure. You have to become a selfless servant of that supreme person.
But how would you get to some of these people that are like that, are egotistical, are all into themselves, are about materialistic things? They want to get the newest iPhone, they want to get the newest video game, the newest clothes. How do you get to those people and preach a lesson?
I get a lot of people signing up. I have an e-course. You go to www.joincourse.com. I got people signing up every day from all over the world looking for a higher level of consciousness. So in my ultimate self-realization course, I train people how to achieve that liberated state, even while you're living in your own home.
Okay. Now, I was just curious about that because, like you said, we see people like that all over the world. Do you feel like your message is a lot kind of like karma? So we do a lot of good things to a lot of people. It'll reflect back on us. What is your take on that?
Yeah, there's three types of karma, and the word karma is a Sanskrit word described in the ancient Vedic scriptures. That's where it comes from. So there's three types of karma. There's karma, vikarma, V with a VI in front of it, vikarma, and akarma with an A in front of it. So karma means when you do some pious work, you get a reward. You give a donation to a charity, then someone helps you as a return, a karmic return. Vikarma means we do something very sinful, you get a punishment. But we teach a higher level called akarma, totally beyond karma. In other words, acts of devotion to the Supreme Person don't give you any material result. If I feed a poor person, and then that means in the future that poor person is going to feed me. So I become a poor person in the future so he can feed me. But I don't want to get that kind of reward, you see. So we teach akarma. By acts of devotion, you get completely beyond the realm of karma. But there's no more reactions that force you to take birth again, either as in a good situation or a bad situation.
So how would you feel to somebody that said, and this is just kind of the pushback a little bit, somebody that says, I don't believe in any of that karma stuff. I've done some good things for people. Nothing's happened to me. Nothing's happened for me. I have a low-wage job.
Right.
I'm living in poverty. I don't have a
Right.
lot of money. I don't have a lot of things around me, whether it's
Right.
a TV or whatever. How do you get to somebody like that that's saying, hey, what you're saying is not true for them?
It may not be true in the short run, but karma also can mean in your next lifetime as well.
Fair. Good point.
You may not see it now, but karma, engage in pious activities, the reward is definitely going to come either in this lifetime or a future lifetime. You engage in impious activities, the punishment will definitely come in this lifetime or a future lifetime.
We see a lot of young people around my age in their 20s, even older people. They don't believe in anything anymore. They don't believe in God. They don't have any kind of relationship with any higher being. It kind of goes through what you're talking to, which, I love what you're saying. I think it's the right way to think about life. I wish more people did think about it like the way you're saying it. We see a lot of people like that. How do you get to them that they say they don't believe in any of that stuff, that there's no God, there's nothing there. It's just us when we die. That's it. You just go on the ground and you're 6 feet under.
Well, if somebody's willing to hear, we can explain to them in a scientific way that it's a scientific fact that nothing comes from nothing.
Right.
You can't take nothing and get something out of it. That's a scientific fact. Nothing comes from nothing. Everything comes from something is a scientific fact. So if you can trace back that line of causality, there obviously is a line of causality. Once you understand things come from things, there's a line of causality. If you trace the line of causality all the way back to what's called sarva karanam, the cause of all causes, then you've reached the supreme. There is the original source for everything.
What I guess I was saying, and I do hear what you're saying, is you got these people that say with the creationism argument compared to science. So I feel like what you're saying is more toward the science realm, correct?
We actually combine science and religion into one thing. That's our unique position. We can scientifically explain the religious principles. That's the difference between us. You got the religionists and the scientists. We actually merge it all into one thing. It's called the highest knowledge.
Fair. That's good.
In Sanskrit, it's called Raja Vidya, the king of all knowledge. Raja means king, and Vidya means knowledge. We teach Raja Vidya, the king of all knowledge, the ultimate knowledge. It combines science and religion into one thing.
But who made this? Is coming from?
This is coming from the ancient scriptures in India, especially called Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
This is the book that has inspired many people. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago, and it's a very powerful book, and it comes about 800 verses. We have it available, actually, Bhagavad Gita as it is. You can go on the internet and see it right now, Bhagavad Gita as it is.
So is this similar to the Bible or Hebrew scriptures, or is this different?
The truths contained in those scriptures are also contained in the Bhagavad Gita, but the Bhagavad Gita goes much deeper.
Okay.
It contains the same truths, the same basic philosophy of devotion to the Supreme Being is there, but it goes to a much higher level. The Supreme Being himself appears on this planet and speaks this science.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. We see a lot, as we talked about earlier in the interview, a lot of problems going on. Besides, what you said, preaching love and having a higher relationship with the higher being, how do we solve these problems? How do we fix them?
Well, when you put God back in the center, or that Supreme Person back in the center, the problems actually get solved automatically.
Well, let me push back this. We see a lot of people that are religious, Christian conservatives. It's just basically about abortion with them. It's about, we see Pentecostals. They bring the snakes out and they do stuff like that. So I know what you're saying is a heck of a lot different than that. But I'm just saying, with those, how do you get like what you're trying to believe to those people and to fix a problem that they're just in their own wavelength?
The thing is, we don't expect everybody to be attracted to this knowledge.
Right.
In the Vedic scriptures of India describe that society is broken into 4 segments. By nature, you have persons who are inclined to higher knowledge, for higher spiritual realization. They're called Brahmins, the seekers of the absolute. They're called the Brahmins, the spiritually learned personalities. And then you have the type of people who like to administrate. They're called Kshatriyas, who like to be political leaders. You see a certain mentality. They like to be leaders. Then you have people who like to make money, the mercantile class. Then you have people who they're just workers. They're not inclined to politics. They're not inclined to higher knowledge, nor they're inclined to starting a business. They're just the standard workers. Mm-hmm. So our main focus now is to find those people who are attracted to higher knowledge and educate them in the science, because those people then if we can get that class, a substantial class of persons in a higher, people seeking higher knowledge, and educate them in the science of the self, then we can actually influence. Through them, we can influence the political leaders, the mercantile community, and then that'll filter down to the worker class automatically in due course of time.
Now, do you feel like getting toward as many people as you can with this good information, it'll really relax them mentally, physically, emotionally, where there isn't so much, and we're going to get to this in a minute about anxiety, but do you feel like, them becoming one with God and a higher being, that'll really relax them, as I said, the mentally, physically, and emotionally?
We want to train up a whole class of spiritually enlightened spiritual leaders who can in every country and every town and every village and every hamlet, who can inspire everyone else to live a life in harmony with that Supreme Person.
Okay.
It'll take time. It'll take many generations. But right now we're going for that. We're aiming especially for those people who are interested in higher knowledge, of the spiritual knowledge, and training them in the science of self-realization.
How many people do you approximately feel you got to?
Our movement, in my e-course, I have about 30,000 people signed up for my course on the internet. And in the world, we have millions of people. We have what's called the Hare Krishna movement. We have temples all over the world where we have, George Harrison was one of our members, for example, the Beatles. He was a member of this process. He was one of our students. Right. So in that song, My Sweet Lord, he presents the Hare Krishna mantra which is the basis of our self-realization system. So yeah, we have millions of followers all over the world right now, especially India. We're very big. Been in Europe, America. We have centers all over America. Los Angeles, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Austin, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Gainesville. All over we have hundreds of centers all over the world right now. Millions of people taking this process seriously.
One more question before we switch fully to anxiety. What would you say to somebody that says, "Hey, this is like a cult"?
Well, you're a cult member also. You're a member of the. You're also, if you say that we're a cult, you're also a cult member. You're just in a different cult. That's all. Your cult is the cult of material sense gratification. Eat, mate. Sex, drugs. That's your cult.
Okay, good point. I like that comeback.
You're in the sex and liquor cult. That McDonald's hamburger cult. That's your cult.
Now, when you say that, is that I know like a lot of Hindu and a lot of different religions have diets. Now, when you said about the McDonald's thing, is it more like you have that diet where you don't eat meat? Are you vegetarian?
Meat means murder. I mean, those cows are innocent. They're not doing anything to harm anybody. They give milk. They're chewing the grass, and you want to kill them and eat their bodies?
It's not just cows. It's all kinds of animals.
Yeah, but cows especially are
right.
Cows especially. If someone that wants to eat meat, we advise them, but don't take cow meat. If you want to eat meat, take chicken, take fish, but don't touch the cow. The cow is a very dear animal who gives milk to nourish us when we're little babies, you know. This is our second mother. And we go from the mother's breast to the cow's milk. And how could you kill your mother? It's very thoughtless
Good
thing
point.
to do.
Yeah, good point. I do want to switch over a little bit to anxiety.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. So let's kick it around there. And I appreciate all that information. That question about the cult, that wasn't me directed to you. That's just something that
I know that wasn't you.
Yeah, that's just something that I wanted to ask in general.
They say that we're a cult. We tell them you're a cult also. You're just a different cult. Your cult is meat, liquor, and cigarettes. That's your cult.
How would you help somebody before we go into anxiety? You brought up meat. Unfortunately, I watch some of this stuff on TV, on PETA and all these, and the way they treat animals is disgusting. And it makes you cringe when you see a lot of animal abuse and how a lot of these chickens and the processing with that, the processing of cow meat, as you talked about.
Horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. I agree.
Our diet is no meat, fish, no fish, and no eggs. We just take milk. We take the milk and we take fruit, dairy products. We take fruits, vegetables, and grains. We don't touch meat, fish, or eggs at all.
So how do you used to eat meat, correctly? Correct?
Yeah, as a kid. Yeah, that's what I was trained by my parents. Yeah.
Right, of course. So how, somebody like me that eats meat now and sees what you're saying and agrees with what you're saying, how do we get away from that? Whether it's a slow process, you just full on say, "Hey, I'm going to do it." It's tough to just go away from that.
I'll send you a link for our Higher Taste cookbook.
Okay.
We have a cookbook called Higher Taste. I'll send you a link for it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, you can start now. Sure.
But kind of a quick answer for the viewers about how to get away from like something like meat, where some people, a lot of people don't watch the videos and the stuff that we see and know. But for the viewers that kind of want to, they're thinking about going away from meat, what would be like a quick way in a few words how to get away from that?
The Higher Taste cookbook is the best thing. Go Higher Taste. Look for it on the internet. That cookbook is the best thing. The thing is, you see, we don't just eat vegetarian food, but what we do is before we eat the food, we offer to God. You see? And then that food becomes a holy sacrament. When I was a Christian, we got a holy wafer 4 times a year, a little tiny thing. But in our process, every meal is a holy sacrament. Every meal gets you high spiritually. You get nourished physically by the food, but when you offer that food, what you do is you cook the food and then offer it to God first before you eat it. By eating that food, you actually get spiritually high just by the eating. And the eating will leave you from all anxieties. You can get high just by eating an apple that's been offered to God.
Well, it's not even just that. It's that all the medicine that they give the cows and the chickens, they pump it with the antibiotics. And all that stuff is being processed.
Oh, yeah. That's another reason not to eat that garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. And you might get sick and you go to the doctor, they give you medication now, but since you got so much medication from all the crap that's in the food that, you sometimes it's resistant to it. It's really sad. And that's the way the country is going.
But bad health is one of the symptoms of the karmic reactions for all the sinful activities we're doing. Bad health is a karmic reaction for sinful activities. It's a fact.
So let's get back into, for real, the anxiety question.
We have been postponing anxiety for the whole time.
Well, I tell you what, you got a lot of stuff to say, and I really enjoy the time so far.
We can do a whole series of talks if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. I really enjoy this.
I'm here for 2 months before I head out to India. And I'm here in Austin until mid-March. I'll be here again. In mid-March, I go into India. I go twice a year to a holy place there. We have an apartment there. I go there to get surcharged. But yeah, for the next 2 months, we can do a regular weekly thing if you want.
Yeah, sure. Now, how long do you go to India for?
Well, I go this spring. I think I'm going for like 2.5 weeks. In the fall, I'm going for I think about a month and a half because I'm going to do a lecture tour all over India when I get there in the fall. Many cities. I have as many disciples there, and they're arranging lectures for me in many cities in India.
So let's go into this. So how do people, you feel in America in general, because that's where we are, develop anxiety? Do you feel like it's too much of people being on the cell phone?
I can tell you the root cause of all anxiety is with identifying with our material bodies. I think that I'm this body, and this body is dying at every minute. It's going step by moment by moment. It's approaching death. That's a fact. So the root cause of all anxiety is the misidentifying yourself as being the material body, which is a mortal thing. We don't want to die. You see, our nature is we want to live forever, because actually we are eternal spiritual beings. But when that eternal spiritual being misidentifies with his material body, it's a natural anxiety position. And that anxiety then also manifests in other ways. But the basis of that anxiety is the false identification with the material body.
So maybe you answer this in your question now. A lot of people I talk to on the podcast are in general, they're working, as I said, 2 or 3 jobs. They're having trouble making ends meet.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah, it's sad. And they're having trouble paying the electric bill, the water bill, whatever it may be. So that's going to relieve a lot of stress on them, which is going to lead to them not sleeping well at night, which is going to lead to a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. How do we, and you can't really solve this because it's just money. And that's the way, unfortunately, our country is obsessed with money, and these people just can't find a job because of their employees don't want to pay them. Anyway, it's a long story down the road, but go ahead.
This one who's in financial difficulty is suffering a karmic reaction from past sinful activities. So one actually gives up impious activities, engages in spiritual activities, that they change their karma to where those kind of things just go away from them. It's this karma from previous impious activities. It's causing them having to work 2 or 3 jobs, and they have sleepless nights and not paying their bills. They're suffering a karmic reaction from past sinful activities. Simple thing. But they can change their karma by acts of devotion, by meditating on the holy names of God, just like we teach the Hare Krishna mantra that George put in My Sweet Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By purifying your consciousness, you can burn away those karmic reactions. I personally have no anxieties from money at all. Nothing.
Now, but you did have anxieties at one point, and then just once you started following this, you felt cured. And
at one point, but money was a big issue for me. I mean, I was actually, I didn't know where I was going to sleep at night. At one point, I had to go sleep in the bushes. I was a homeless person on the street at one point.
And this was in Texas too?
And in San Francisco.
San Francisco. There's a lot of homeless in San Francisco.
I did that voluntarily. I did that voluntarily as an act of renunciation. Right. Instead of going to India as a renunciate, I threw away, I renounced everything. I threw my ID in the garbage can, and I hitchhiked to San Francisco with not a penny to my name.
Wow.
I did just depending on God to maintain me. I lived as a homeless person, but I was in a state of pure bliss.
So let me ask this. This is about happiness now. So do you feel like once people kind of listen to what you have to say, and I do agree with pretty much the majority of what you said that is true, it's factual and it's true.
I can teach anybody how to achieve a state of pure, unadulterated happiness, where they're tasting unlimited happiness at every minute, 24/7. That's
because, as you said, it's sex, drugs, rock and roll, alcohol. And that's what the country runs on. It's unfortunate.
We try to find happiness in those things, but we never find happiness in those things.
Can't do it. I agree. Can't do it.
Never find happiness. We try, but we never actually find a peace of mind in those things.
Right. So let me formulate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to formulate toward the end of the interview about, you talked about earlier on in the interview that, you did, play the guitar. You are a singer-songwriter. I didn't hear about that. Could you tell us how you got into all singing, songwriting, and what got you into music?
Yeah, well, see, that was my whole thing. When I hitchhiked to San Francisco with my guitar, and I became a street singer, actually, in Haight-Ashbury, and then I became they had a whole scene at Berkeley of campus singers up and down Sproul Plaza. I became a campus singer. I wrote hundreds of songs. I they let me on the stage actually with the airplane and the Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead. I played at one of those big concerts in Golden Gate Park. And then I came back to Austin and I became the campus sensation as the campus minstrel in 1970. Actually, I'm going to do a concert here, an upcoming concert this March on the university campus, the 50th anniversary of when I was the campus minstrel at the University of Texas, attracting huge crowds every day with my concerts at the George Washington statue.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, so you still write in music then?
I'm focusing on a book right now. I'm writing a book called Conquer Your Mind and Live with the World.
Okay.
And I'm focusing on my book right now, but I'll be doing that concert in March. People can go to turnontheworld.com and check out my music, turnontheworld.com.
Now, do you have a full-on band, or is it just you up there?
I'm one of those solo singer-songwriter soloist guys.
One-man band. I gotcha.
That's right.
All right.
12-string guitar, 6-string guitar, and a harmonica like Bob Dylan. You know?
Wow.
Harmonica too.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, I know, does the harmonica too. That's impressive. So let's formulate the interview. I want as an end, and I will take you up on that. I'd love to do this again a couple more times. We can develop some topics on that. To finish off the interview, can you tease the book a little bit? I know you kind of teased it somewhat, but could you tease the book a little bit?
Tease the book? What do you mean?
The book you're writing.
Oh,
yeah.
The book is going to have 3 sections. The first section will be the whole story of my spiritual awakening. Mm-hmm. I went from a depressed college youth to someone who hitchhiked to San Francisco without a penny to his name, became a prominent singer-songwriter, and then looked for a higher means of actually spiritualizing the world. Became a disciple of one of the most famous gurus in history, basically Bhaktivedanta Swami, and now I'm a spiritual master for disciples all over the world. I'm going to give that story in the first section of the book, my spiritual awakening. The second will be a guidebook on how you, the reader, can actually achieve spiritual perfection right there in your own home, doing what you're doing now, practically the same. And the third will be the vision of how now we can, by coming to this level of spiritual realization, now we can revolutionize this planet and bring the greatest history of peace and happiness this planet has known for thousands of years.
Okay, and thank you for that. So, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but where can people find more about you and your works?
Well, they can go to joincourse.com and they'll get something from me every day. They'll be on my e-course, joincourse.com. And for the music, turnontheworld.com.
Is this a test that you're saying? Like they take kind of a test to see where they are as far as the e-course, or is it?
Join course means they get something. What's called the weekly lesson, coming from that ancient book, the Bhagavad Gita I mentioned. We go verse by verse to the Gita, and then the daily thought for the day and questions and answers. They can write in their questions. They'll get answers, and every day they get to see questions and answers from some of my students. It's a very nice program. Thousands of people are coming on. They love it. It's fantastic. Free, no charge. It's free.
Yeah, that's great too. And I definitely will check that out. And like I said, we'll talk more on doing some more talks like this. I think it was very insightful, and I think people need to open their minds and look at what else is out there, because apparently what's out there now is not really getting the job done for sure.
Not working. We have a formula that can solve all the problems of every individual on this planet and bring the greatest peace and happiness here to the whole world. Right. So we're trying to now educate the world in this science, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do so with your help today.
I learned a lot from you because I didn't know what to expect, so I really learned a lot. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you've been great. This has really been nice. I've really enjoyed this interview.
All right, Sankarshan, and I said it right that time?
Sankarshan.
Sean, I apologize. We're going to get it through the other interviews we do. Thanks so much for the patience and the time. I really appreciate it.
I loved being with you. It was really a real treat for me. Thanks.
All right, I look forward to more talks then.
Yeah, we'll do it again some more. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much.
Sure.
All right, bye-bye now.